If you're petite and over 60, there's a good chance your blouses have been quietly working against you for years. And nobody ever told you. Not because you have bad taste. Not because you don't know how to dress. But because most style advice out there is built for women who are 5'7", 30 years younger, and built completely different from you. Magazines, big brands, even most fashion channels are all speaking to a body that isn't yours. And that gap is exactly why so many women feel like nothing they buy quite works the way it should. Think about the last time you tried on a blouse that looked absolutely stunning on the model in the photo, brought it home, put it on, and stood in front of the mirror wondering why it just didn't sit the same way. It's not your imagination, and it's certainly not your body doing something wrong. It's simply that the blouse was never designed with your particular proportions in mind in the first place, and once you understand that, everything starts to shift. Today I'm handing you 7 blouse tips that most women your age have never even heard of. Tips that instantly make you look taller, sharper, and honestly, a good 10 years younger. These aren't expensive tricks. They don't require a new wardrobe or a shopping spree. Most of them cost you nothing at all, just a little awareness the next time you get dressed. And stay with me till the end, because tip number 5 is the one I get the most messages about. It's the one mistake almost every petite woman over 60 is making right now without even realizing it. Hey there, gorgeous. Welcome back to Grace Beyond 60, the place where we prove that style has no expiration date. And if this is your very first time here, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am so glad you found us. This little corner of YouTube exists for one simple reason only. To help ordinary women exactly like you look put together, feel confident, and do it all without ever draining your bank account. No fluff, no fillers, just real tips from real life, straight from one woman who understands exactly what it feels like to stand in front of a closet full of clothes and still feel like you have nothing to wear. We talk about real bodies here, real budgets, and real life. Not some fantasy version of style that only works if you have unlimited money and a walk-in closet the size of a small apartment. Every tip you'll ever hear on this channel has to pass one simple test. Can a woman on a regular budget actually use this today? And if the answer is no, we don't share it. Now before we dive in, do me one small favor. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, because trust me, you do not want to miss what we've got coming every single week. And if you're already part of our Grace Beyond 60 family, thank you. Truly. You are the reason this channel even exists, and every single comment, every like, every share helps this message reach another woman who needs to hear it. Alright, let's get right into it now, because tip number 1 is about to change the way you shop forever, starting today. Tip 1. The vertical line secret. Let's start with something almost nobody talks about. The vertical line secret. See, when you're petite, your eye naturally looks for shortcuts to make sense of your body. And most blouses out there are covered in horizontal details. Wide horizontal stripes. Big chunky horizontal hems. Wide boat necklines that cut straight across your chest. On a taller frame, these details barely register. But on a petite frame, they act like invisible markers that chop your body into short, stacked sections. I want you to picture 2 women standing side by side, both the exact same height. One is wearing a blouse with a bold horizontal stripe running across the chest. The other is wearing the same blouse but with the stripe running vertically instead. 9 times out of 10, the woman with the vertical stripe will look noticeably taller, even though their actual height hasn't changed 1 single inch. That's the power of a simple line, and it costs absolutely nothing to use it in your favor. Every single one of those horizontal lines is quietly chopping your body into sections, and shorter sections read as a shorter you. It's not about the blouse being unflattering on its own, it's about how it interacts with your particular proportions, and that's something almost nobody explains clearly. Here's the fix. Look for blouses with vertical detailing. A subtle vertical stripe. a line of buttons running straight down the front. Even a soft vertical seam down the sides. These tiny details trick the eye into traveling up and down instead of side to side, and that alone can make you look 2 to 3 inches taller without changing a single thing about your actual height. Think of it like an optical illusion working quietly in your favor every single time you walk into a room. Simple. Almost too simple. But it works every single time, and once you start noticing it, you'll never look at a blouse rack the same way again for the rest of your life. Tip 2. The color rule nobody talks about. Tip number 2 is all about your color, and this one surprises people every time I share it. Big, wide, dramatic colors might look stunning on a tall model in a magazine, but on a petite frame, they can completely swallow your neck and shoulders. Instead of framing your face, they end up hiding it, pulling attention away from the one area you actually want people looking at. What you want instead is a collar that sits close to your neck. Think small mandarin collars, soft V necklines, or a gentle scoop that shows a little collarbone. These styles draw attention straight up to your face, which, let's be honest, is exactly where you want people looking. A well-placed collar can do more for your appearance than an entire new outfit, because it directs the eye exactly where you want it to go. Next time you're blouse shopping, hold the top up to your neck before you even try it on. If the collar looks bigger than your own hand, put it back on the rack. It sounds almost too simple to work, but this one small test will save you from dozens of wrong purchases. I've watched women spend years avoiding certain colors or styles because they felt their face looked tired or washed out, when really, the problem was never the color at all, it was the collar sitting too far from the face and pulling all the visual attention downward instead of upward. Fix the collar, and suddenly the whole outfit feels brighter, even if nothing else about it changed. Okay, real quick, pause with me for 1 second. If this is already making sense to you, do me a favor and drop a comment down below telling me your height, because I read every single one, and it genuinely helps me create videos tailored just for our community. And if you haven't already, tap that like button right now. It truly does help this video reach more women just like you who need to hear this today. Okay, back to it, because tip 3 might be the most underused trick in your entire closet. Tip 3. The tuck that changes everything. Most petite women either tuck their blouse in completely, or don't tuck it at all. Both of those are missing the real secret: the French tuck. This is when you tuck in just the front section of your blouse, loosely, and leave the sides and back untucked. It sounds small, but it does something powerful. It creates a visible waistline without adding any bulk around your hips, and it instantly makes your torso look longer. It's the kind of detail stylists have used for years, quietly, without ever really explaining why it works. The trick is to keep it loose and slightly imperfect. You are not trying to look tucked in and stiff. You want it to look like you just casually tucked it in without even thinking. That effortless look is exactly what makes it work, because it suggests ease and confidence rather than trying too hard, and on a petite frame, that relaxed elegance reads as effortlessly put together. A lot of women skip this step entirely because they assume tucking only works if you have a naturally defined, dramatic hourglass waistline, but that's simply not true at all, and it never has been. The French tuck creates the illusion of a waistline even if you don't naturally have a dramatic hourglass shape, because it's the shape of the fabric doing the work, not your body underneath it. Try it in front of a mirror right now if you have a blouse nearby. Just gently pull a small section of fabric in at the front, and watch how differently your whole silhouette reads within seconds. Tip 4. Sleeve length is everything. Here's one that almost nobody thinks about: sleeve length. A sleeve that ends right at the widest part of your arm, usually right at the elbow, will visually widen that area and cut your arm in a way that makes it look shorter and heavier than it is. It's such a small detail, yet it changes the entire silhouette of your upper body without you even realizing why. Instead, look for sleeves that end just above or just below the elbow, never directly at it. 3/4 length sleeves are a petite woman's best friend because they lengthen the arm and create a soft, elegant line all the way down. This one small shift in where the fabric ends can make the difference between an arm that looks compact and an arm that looks graceful and long. This one tiny adjustment in sleeve length can completely change how your whole upper body looks in photos, and it's one of those details that photographers and stylists notice immediately, even if they can't always explain exactly why it works so well. Next time you're getting dressed for something important, a family gathering, a lunch with friends, even just a walk around your neighborhood, take 30 seconds to look at where your sleeve actually falls in the mirror. If it lands right at that widest point of your arm, roll it up slightly or push it up just an inch, and you'll immediately notice your whole arm looks longer and more graceful. Tip 5. The mistake almost everyone is making. Alright, this is the one I promised you at the beginning. The mistake almost every petite woman over 60 makes without realizing it. It's oversized blouses. I know, oversized has been trending everywhere, and it feels comfortable, it feels relaxed, it feels safe. There's something reassuring about extra fabric, like it's hiding all the things we've been taught to feel insecure about. But on a petite frame, an oversized blouse doesn't read as stylish. It reads as being swallowed by your own clothes. The extra fabric hangs in all the wrong places and actually adds visual weight and shortens your whole frame, undoing everything the other 6 tips are trying to build. The fix isn't to go tight either, because tight fabric creates its own problems and can be just as unflattering. The sweet spot is a blouse that skims your body. It touches your shoulders properly, it doesn't pool at your waist, and it has just enough room to move comfortably. That skim fit is the difference between looking stylish and looking like you borrowed your husband's shirt. And once you start shopping with this in mind, you'll notice it in seconds just by holding a blouse up against yourself. Here's a quick test you can use in any store or even at home. Stand in front of a mirror and pinch the fabric at your shoulder seam. If there's more than an inch of extra space hanging beyond your actual shoulder, that blouse is working against you, no matter how soft or pretty the fabric feels. Shoulder seams should sit close to where your shoulder actually ends. That one detail alone tells you almost everything about whether a top will flatter or overwhelm your frame. Tip 6. The pattern scale secret. Big bold prints are gorgeous on the hanger, but large scale patterns on a small frame can overwhelm your whole body and actually make you look smaller and busier at the same time. The pattern itself isn't the problem, it's the scale of it compared to your frame. The secret is choosing patterns that are proportioned to your size. Small to medium florals, thin stripes, subtle textures. These add personality and interest without taking over your entire frame, letting you enjoy pattern and color without it working against you. If you love a bold print, wear it as an accent, maybe a scarf or a cardigan, but keep your blouse itself in a smaller, more proportional pattern. That way you still get to enjoy the print you love, just placed somewhere it won't overwhelm your frame. A simple rule of thumb: hold the fabric at arm's length and take a step back. If the print is still the very first thing you notice about the whole outfit before you notice the woman wearing it, the scale is probably too large for a petite frame. Smaller repeating patterns keep the eye moving smoothly across your body instead of getting stuck on one giant motif. Tip 7. The hem placement trick. And finally, tip number 7. Hem placement. A blouse that hits right at the widest part of your hips will visually widen you right there. It's one of the most common mistakes, and also one of the easiest to fix once you know what to look for. Instead, look for a hem that either sits just above the hip bone or falls a few inches below it. Both of these placements avoid cutting you off at your widest point and instead create a longer, leaner silhouette. It's a tiny shift in where the fabric ends, yet it changes the entire line of your body from the front and the side. This is honestly one of the easiest tips to apply immediately, because it just means paying attention to where the fabric actually ends on your body before you buy, and it costs you absolutely nothing to check before you commit to a purchase. If you already own blouses that hit right at that awkward widest point, You don't necessarily need to get rid of them either. Sometimes simply wearing them with a slightly higher waisted bottom, or adding that French tuck we talked about earlier, is enough to shift where the eye lands and avoid that unflattering cut-off point entirely. And there you have it, 7 simple blouse tips that can completely transform how you look, without spending a single extra dollar you weren't already planning to spend. None of this requires a stylist, a personal shopper, or a brand new wardrobe. It simply requires knowing what to look for, and now you do. The beautiful thing about all 7 of these tips is that they work together. Vertical lines pair perfectly with a well-placed collar, a French tuck completes the effect of a properly fitted sleeve, and paying attention to your hemline ties every single piece of the outfit together into one cohesive look. You don't need to apply all 7 at once either. Start with just one, maybe the French tuck since it costs nothing and takes 10 seconds, and build from there at your own pace. I always say that great style after 60 isn't about chasing every new trend that comes along, it's about understanding your own body well enough to make small, intentional choices that consistently work in your favor. That's it. That's the whole secret. No expensive overhaul required, just a little knowledge applied consistently over time. If this video helped you even a little, please hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a comment telling me which tip surprised you the most. I read every single one, and your comments genuinely shape what we create next here at Grace Beyond 60. And if you have a friend, a sister, or even a neighbor who you know would love this too, send her this video. Sometimes the biggest gift you can give another woman is simply helping her feel a little more confident the next time she gets dressed. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Stay graceful, stay confident, and I will see you in the next one.